Hi, I'm Jacob Woolcock, and welcome to the first and hopefully not last episode of Smashing Apps. I'm joined today by Hannah, Emma, and Philip, who are all ADEs who we met over the summer in Amsterdam. When we met up, we had a brief chance to kind of share some of the apps that we use in our classrooms, and we thought it might be fun to try and share that with a kind of wider audience through the magic of the internet. So I'm going to pass you off to Hannah, who will tell you a bit about herself, and then we'll explain what we're going to try and do. Hannah, off you go.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I teach in Kingston and I teach reception and nursery and year one computing.
Hi, I'm Phil. I teach year 2 and I'm also the specialist science and computing teacher. I'm also in Kingston.
Hi, I'm Emma. I teach in East London, which is in South Africa, and I teach grades 4, 5, 6 and 7, Discovery and Genius Hour.
Brilliant. And I teach primary school myself. I'm year 3, 4, 5 and 6, and I teach computing down in Cornwall in England. So what we're going to try and do is demonstrate an app that we've been using ourselves a lot in class, and kind of discuss it a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to share some interesting things with you and learn from each other as well. I think part of what makes our community so strong as educators is that we can share and learn from each other, and I think that's a really powerful thing to do. So we haven't decided who's going to go first today, but I guess, Philip, let's hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Jacob. So I'm going to do my bit for Socrative, which is a quiz app. I know this evening we have another quiz app as well, but I'm doing my bit tonight for Socrative. And so Socrative, like I say, is a quiz app, but it's quite a clever app. You get an awful lot of functionality from it. It's very cheap, and whilst you're using it, it also dishes out a huge amount of data. Really great for quick formative assessment and for summative assessment as well.
Okay.
So I have a load of quizzes that I've been making on there. One of them is on the respiratory system, and I used it as a starter in one of my lessons. 10 questions, took me probably about 10 minutes to create. Sent it out to my children. The children then filled it out. Took them maybe 5 minutes to fill it out. I was then given a huge amount of data on particular areas that they were struggling with. So when I started it up, I found out very quickly that one of the children in that class actually was really struggling with a lot of stuff on the respiratory system. He was just finding it very, very difficult. And so I presented them with some true and false questions. I presented them with some multiple choice questions and even a short answer question at the end. Once I'd been given all of that data, I could then look at it and decide, just put it up for you on my, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just pulled it up on my my screen, and you can see, looking at it, that I've got a few of my children who are very good at this. They understand how carbon dioxide works, how oxygen works, but some of them don't, and I can see exactly where the key areas are. So I can see, for example, that one of the questions they really struggled with is what order each of our parts of the body go. So what kind starts here, then there, and what part is this called? And I was able to then very quickly pull that out and then rejig my entire lesson to fit that. Another thing that's really brilliant with this is very much like Kahoot, which we'll hear about later. You can perform races or competitions through it as well. So the same thing again. I did a little quiz with my year 2s on making 10 on number bonds to 10, and I sent it out to them, and we had a little race who could get the 10 first. They absolutely loved it. Really quick introduction. Kids were immediately engaged. Again, loads of data, seeing what they could recognise, what they couldn't. I could give them multiple answers. And in the case of one of them, I actually gave them a question which was all of them. And I wanted to see, therefore, who could recognise that it was all of them were the correct answer.
Okay.
So a huge amount of data you can get through this, and the quizzes are so easy to create. If I'm creating one now, for example, I give it a name, I add a question in, I simply type my question in, and I create 2, 3 answers if I'm doing a multiple choice one.
Yeah.
Or if I'm doing, say, a true and false one. It's so quick to create. Like I say, 10 minutes and you can create 10 questions. Incredibly simple, incredibly easy, and incredibly cheap. And that's Socrative.
That sounds really, really good.
Over to you guys.
Yeah, so I guess let's ask some questions about it. I haven't used
by all means
it myself at all. Hannah, Emma, have you guys used this at all?
I have used it for CPD for the staff, but I haven't used Socrative for my little ones.
I guess perhaps at that age it's not quite as suitable, maybe.
I mean, certainly one of the great things of this actually is the exit card functionality. So you launch 3 questions, send it out to all your children, and they simply will tell you what they've learned from that lesson. Something that maybe works, like if you rephrase them for the younger children. A simple 3 questions, rephrasing it, true or false, or simple 1 or 2 answers with a little emojis would probably work in that respect.
And how do you distribute it to the class? Is it like a PIN code that you join? Can you put it into like a Google Classroom or a Seesaw or something where they can open it?
That's a really good question, actually, and I should have expanded on that. So we have Shobi in our school. We actually link it straight to Shobi. But if you haven't got Shobi, you can go online and go on to Socrative Student, and you create a room, in effect. They type in that code, they join that room, they have access to their quiz. And once they've finished that quiz, if you want to send out another one or something different, it simply waits for them there. So they're ready to go straight on to the next quiz. Really easy to send out. I could send one out, for example, to your class if I wanted to. It's not Bluetooth, or it's not over the Wi-Fi in the sense that it's local area network. Really easy to do.
Wow, that sounds really good. Can you kind of reuse a quiz? So if maybe one class teacher made a quiz about something, could you then use that yourself later on in a different lesson?
Yes, you can share quizzes.
Okay, so you kind of make like a shared bank between staff almost.
Exactly, yeah. Much like Kahoot and a few other quizzing apps, yes, there's a bank you can pull upon.
Okay. So what do you find is the most useful thing about this app? What does it give you that perhaps other apps couldn't?
Oh, it's the data. It's the very quick and easy access to formative data that I can share, that I can save. So I can know immediately how the class is doing on a particular topic. I can therefore jig that lesson to suit whatever gaps in their knowledge there might be. That's something that I can't really get in the same vein from things like Kahoot or things like Quizlet or things like that. I can't quite get that level of detail.
So it is the data is the core
the data
thing
side
that you think is valuable. Yeah, of course.
That is incredibly valuable.
Okay, I can see it's obviously really effective at picking out students who perhaps need more support in a certain area, but doing it instantly, so you haven't got to mark books and then come back, a few days later. It's in real time, isn't it? And that's so powerful in the classroom.
And again, speaking as a school that has Shobi, that link to Shobi is absolutely brilliant. So I can set for them as a task on Shobi that quiz. They then join that quiz and they complete it in their own time. And again, I get that overview. I can print that out. I can save that data. It's all for me to use.
And do they get their own feedback straight away? So can you set it as in they can see their response, the answer, or keep the answer private, just only the teacher can see? Does that make sense?
So when I am setting a quiz off, you have 3 options. You can either set it to instant feedback. The children will get immediately, they'll immediately know whether or not they've got the question correct or whether or not it's wrong, and you get to put in a little short answer if you want to. Or you can put in a navigation feature. They simply navigate it around it in any order they like. You can choose to give them the feedback or not. And the other one is by the teacher. So the teacher chooses to go through it one by one, and then the teacher can explain at the end of each question what the correct answer is. So it's how you want to organise that. Sometimes I'll have it with myself at the front. We will talk through it, each question. Sometimes I will simply let them go, and I'll gather that data that way.
That's really interesting. I think I've heard of Socrative before, but I've not actually kind of had time to explore it and to figure out how it could be useful in my class. But I think what you said there, Philip, really does strike a chord. And it sounds like something you can easily drop in as a starter or a plenary, maybe in one lesson or over a unit of work. And you can get that data immediately. And that sounds so powerful. So thank you for sharing that.
No, you're very welcome. And it's free. There is a free account.
It's free. Even better. That's what
we like. As ADEs, we love free stuff.
Love free stuff.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Shall we go up to we've talked about a quiz app. Should we go to Emma and then come back to Hannah?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, is that okay, Emma?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to be demonstrating Plotagon today. And Plotagon is one of my most favorite apps for all age groups. So we've used it with the very little children all the way through to the older ones that I work with now. There's 2 versions of Plotagon in the App Store. There's Plotagon Education and Plotagon Story. The education version you have to pay for. So yeah, your institution will have to pay and set it up. But to be honest, as Phil just said about the freebies, this is a freemium app, and whatever's in here, just the basics is actually good enough. So I've had to buy any extras once I'm in the app.
That's good to know.
So yeah, I'm happy for now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take you to some examples of how I've used Plotagon already. So it's an animation app, and it's great for the children and for the teachers to use. So as a child, it's great for them because it gives them a voice. Then their voice is able to be amplified because it can be published and put to YouTube. It can be shared amongst peers. It can be put out there in the wider world. And as a teacher, I find it awesome because it just takes the spotlight off me, who's always speaking in the classroom. They get their instructions through Plotagon instead. So I just record my voice in there. So it can be a flipped classroom kind of scenario where I can put the instructions in their digital module, and they can listen to it in their own time. They can rewind it and repeat it.
Yeah.
As and when. And so when I'm in the app now, so I'm going to go in. And straight away, you're going to tap on the little camera at the bottom. And you need to be able to create a character first. So it's an animated video. You can choose from the characters that are already there, or you can create your own. And we all know that children love to create their own.
Yeah. That's half the lesson gone straight there.
That's it.
Exactly. So make sure, guys, give them time to play, please.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Create new. And when you're creating a new character, you can choose male or female, or you can press randomize. And randomize is a lot of fun because it can turn them into an alien. It can turn them into all sorts of funny colored creatures. So you can, change the hair, change the skin color, eye color, all the rest of it. And then you create a character, and you can create as many characters as you want. So that's what I love about the free version as well. Once you've created your character, you tap on the plot and you create a new plot. And within the plots, you have to choose your scene first. So you just choose a background, and you'll see at the top of the screen on the left-hand side, there's a clipperboard, there's a speech bubble, there's a pen, and there's music. And these are all of the items that you can add into the app. So when I tap on the scene, anything in red is what you can change. So I can tap on the scene, and I can choose from the free version. In the free version, I can choose any of those free backgrounds. And the new one as well that they put in is a postcard. So I love, the idea of sending a digital postcard to somebody.
Lovely. Yeah, that's lovely.
A really, really awesome one is the green screen background.
Ooh.
So, yes, I know. So we can choose green screen background, put your characters on, and then drop it into iMovie and use the green screen feature, and suddenly your Plotagon characters can be absolutely anywhere. So
that is so cool.
It is awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the green screen one. Okay, so I'm going to use the green room background. And what I love about Plotagon, it's quite intuitive. It's actually very intuitive. And you just follow the directions on the screen. And this is great for dialogue. So even if you've never written a script before, you don't know what a script looks like, this is great for teaching scripts. And we tap on whatever is red, we tap on our character, and then we choose where we want the character to be standing. And then we add some speech. And then you can also change the expressions, the facial expressions of the character.
Oh, okay, to mirror what you're saying, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a beating chest, there's an accusing face, there's angry, there's even air guitar. So I'm making my character look quite angry right now, and then I can add the text box, allows my character to speak. The little sound, the microphone, you can tap on it and you can record your own voice as well. So this is awesome for those children that if spelling is an issue, or for the younger children, just makes it a little bit more accessible to all.
Yeah.
The character will speak whatever you type. So it will try phonetically sound out the spelling. So that's also a nice way of them realizing, oh, hang on, that word doesn't sound right. Let me go and check my text.
Okay.
Or you can just tap on the record button, record your voice into the character as well. That goes on throughout the app. And then at the end, you just render the app. So you save it into your camera roll and it becomes a little video. You can import into Book Creator or I used it in Numbers in a journal that we're keeping at the moment using Numbers. So it can be used in a multitude of ways, in a multitude of lessons, scripting, debating, instructional text, interviews, explanations, and diary entries. Our girls recently have been using it. They created a Nelson Mandela character. So they did an interview with Nelson Mandela.
Wow.
To find out more about his life when he was younger. So it just, brought learning to life a little bit more. So we love it. Absolutely love Plotagon.
It looks absolutely amazing. The visuals are so kind of like eye-catching and colourful. It's no wonder the children love it so much. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a favourite. And it's free, so even better.
Already.
You two, Philip, have you used this before or not?
I've never used it, no.
I haven't, no. Although it does sound incredibly intriguing. I mean, you mentioned earlier about the setting instructions through it. Speaking obviously as a Shobi school, would we be able to do something along those lines, link it up to Shobi or to something like that?
Yeah, so the way we've used it before, absolutely, you could share it to YouTube. There's a link. It goes straight into YouTube, so you could share the YouTube link. But we work a lot from digital modules, so I'll show you on the iPad now.
Okay.
So I just want to take you. So in my Book Creator, for instance, our grade 6s are learning about democracy and citizenship. So in Book Creator, one of the pages, so we create a template sort of module and the children go in and complete it. So one of the questions was, if you were a member of parliament, which one issue would you raise to be discussed and solved? Record your response in pairs using the Plotagon app. And so they would save it in Plotagon, pop it into their Book Creator, so that and then we use Google Classroom, so they would upload it to Google Classroom for me to see. So yeah, it would work in that way.
Brilliant.
That's nice.
That's really good. So is it a long process for the children to make their finished piece? So in that example where you said they want to be a politician and they recorded their argument, would that take the whole lesson, or is that something they can just kind of fit in kind of like halfway through kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it depends on the context, but we say the actual video itself, you don't want it any longer than a couple of minutes. It's got to be to go straight to the point. It also makes it easier to upload to YouTube or share it across devices. But also we do the planning first on paper. So we make sure that the script is planned out on paper first. Everyone knows what they need to say, and then the final product is in the Plotagon. So.
I think that's brilliant. It's almost like a building up to that end piece, isn't it, for that lesson and everything.
Yes. For instance, that democracy and citizenship one, that was on the spot. That was just a 5-minute discussion. They could quickly put that in, and it was a 20-second video that they did. So that was a quick one.
Brilliant. Hannah, do you think this would work with your younger ones? Do you think there's a place for that in your classroom?
If maybe we could make like a woodland story, or maybe an adaptation of one of the traditional tales, like we're looking at the Three Little Pigs at the minute, or something like that. Maybe we could use it along those lines and do a story they already know, but their own version of it, potentially.
Oh, that would be lovely. Especially if they were the characters themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I like this link with British values as well. You talked about democracy, but that's quite a nice link, and quite speaking sort of from assessment point of view, that's quite a nice one to have in there. This sort of link. I'm quite looking forward to using this app.
Yeah, I think you showed us it briefly, didn't you? In Amsterdam.
Yeah.
You said it's been in my head as something that I've really been excited to use, and seeing it again today. I'm definitely going to download that in the morning and give it a try. It sounds so useful and great fun as well. And
I'd love to know how you get on.
Absolutely, we'll perhaps share some videos and see how we get on with that.
Excellent.
Right.
Awesome. Hannah, do you want to take us through your app?
So mine is also a quiz app, like Phil's.
Okay.
But mine is Kahoot. It's also free.
Awesome.
It does have a paid version, but the paid version is obviously where you get more data. So.
Oh, okay.
it depends how you really want to use it.
Uh-huh.
So I really like it because it's really colourful. It's got sorry, you can set the options as to how many answers you have per question. So you can have 2 answers, 3 options, 4 answers, true or false games. You can set a challenge as well. And the answers are quite a colourful, a block of 4. So for my little ones, it's quite eye-catching. It's kind of like, out there.
Yeah, it's really friendly, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really friendly.
And it's really easy to use as well. Once they've done it once, they just know how to use it. So I use it a lot for phonics, because you can import into your question. You can import a picture, so you can put something from Google or something you've made in Keynote or a screenshot. And we've got one where you'll see here. It's called "What's the Word?" So if I did a challenge, it would roll out to all the children. They've got a little 4-pin code that goes in, and then they're in the quiz on their iPad. And then they have these little emojis, and these little people that they can set as themselves. So I'm a pumpkin person right now, obviously, being Halloween. So it says, "What am I?" It's a picture of a nice little cat, and there are 4 words for them to read. So they have to use their phonics to sound it out. It's also timed, and I can set the time depending on the children. So obviously my quickest readers obviously isn't going to give them that long, but for my children that need extra time, it's, they need that. And then once they've answered the question, when they get it right, it tells them, or if they get it wrong, it also tells them that it's not the right answer. But they gives them 4 options to have like an emoji on how they're feeling, which I really like. It's almost like a verbal feedback, but for them not to tell me. So I got this one right, so I'll put that I'm feeling, quite proud of myself.
Yeah.
And then they'll work through the quiz, and at the end they'll see which person in their group was the quickest person to answer. So it also gives that little bit of a challenge of I want to be the quickest person next time.
Sure, that competition element.
Yeah, exactly, and they really like that.
Yeah.
And once finished, like the challenge or the live game, it will, if they haven't got all the questions right, it will actually save it, and they can go back and do it again to achieve all the right answers. So it gives them that option of, and that personalised learning of redoing just those separate questions on their own, which I really like that section of it as well. And you can save all your Kahoots, you can save all the quizzes that you do. I do a maths one as well, like how many sticks can you see, how many pine cones, things like pictures from the environment.
Yeah.
We've got an addition one that we use, and you can see all the reports from the children that have done that quiz, which one's got which answers wrong, and you can see that all in the free version. So that's I like that bit.
Wow.
But yeah, it's really easy to use, and they love that it's got pictures in it. It really captures the children that don't necessarily want to read, and those children are slightly reluctant. It kind of gives it a little bit of more of a real game-like vibe for them.
Very engaging, isn't it?
It is,
yeah, definitely. It makes everyone an equal playing field as well. You haven't got to put your hand up and kind of stand out. You will be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't have that worry of, it might be wrong or anything like that. And at the end of the quiz, they can there's 3 options. They can say they've got a thumbs up if they learned something, or a thumbs down if they felt that they didn't learn anything. And they've got 3 smiley faces on how they felt the quiz went. So they've got green and orange and red as well. So you get that instant feedback as well, which I really like that as well. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So in our school we've been kind of using Kahoot a little bit here and there, but I've never had any of what you've talked about with the actual like emojis and how you're feeling and the redoing questions, because all we've done is we've started a quiz on the whiteboard, they've typed in a PIN code and put in their own nickname, and then 3 minutes later it's gone and forgotten about it and we moved on. But what you're saying is actually you can really harness it to get the children's feedback in real time. You can probably, I'm guessing, save their data as well, so you can see who's kind of struggling in which part.
Yeah, you would get more data if you paid for the app. That is the only downfall, I think. But because I'm using it with children that are quite little, and we're using things like phonics, it is very supervised. We only do it in quite small groups, so I can see what their answers are anyway.
But I love that you can take it so much further than I kind of ever imagined. I've learned a ton just from listening to you there, and that's really exciting. Emma, you're nodding along there.
Yeah, I'm
Have
loving
you used
that.
Kahoot? Yeah.
We use it in the same way as you, Jacob. I actually used it this week. It's literally do the little quiz for 10 marks, and then that's it. But with the emojis, Hannah, can you personalize it yourself? Sorry, did I miss a part where?
Yeah, so when they sign in, there's like a little section. They'll come up with little things that they can personalize, and then that's where their nickname goes as well. So they can put their name in, and they get to choose a little character to represent them.
So do they have kind of like an account that they can use each time, or is it a new account every time they log in?
It's their account each time, so they're just signed in as a student on their one, and my one is the teacher one.
Wow!
And how quickly can you create the quizzes? Because
like 5 minutes. It's so simple. I'll make one really quickly now. So you can have a cover image. So I'm going to put a cover image.
That's quite nice actually.
Because it kind of personalises the quiz.
That's quite nice.
But also it makes it really simple for you looking back at it as well. So you don't have to.
You can organise them.
Yeah, because you can create folders as well in Kahoot and save all your Kahoots. So
I have no idea about any of this, Emma.
That's numbers.
Like, whoa.
I'll add a question. So I'm going to make this one a true or false one. So I'm going to add an image of a rat, because that's what I have here right now. I'm going to put, is this a cat? Obviously it's not, because it's a rat. So obviously you set the answer as false. Job done, next question. And then you can make that a normal quiz question or another true or false. So I'm going to put another true or false because, why not? And I've got a picture of a cat. Look at me with rhyming words. Is this a cat? And obviously it's true.
So quick, isn't it?
I'm done. I can set the time at the side.
Oh, I like that. That's very cool.
I can set the time. So I'm going to give them, ranging from 5 seconds to 240 seconds. I'll go with
that's a long time.
I'll go with 30 seconds. No one really needs 240 seconds to know if it's a cat or a rat.
That does seem long enough.
Yeah. And that's it. It's done.
Wow.
That is incredibly quick.
But also with all the free ones, it's you get a whole bank of what everybody else has made public on Kahoot. So I can obviously see all mine, and mine are all public. But if I went to their homepage, there's ones about trick-or-treating. So I can use so many other ones that are already made. If you've got a topic about anything, you can really quickly find somebody else's. You're not reinventing the wheel, really.
So that helps with teacher planning and things as well. You've got already ready-made resources. That's
And when you find somebody else's resource, maybe you want to make it change one of the questions in it. Is it possible to take someone else's quiz and edit?
That is a really good question, actually. Let me try and do one. Oh, Earth, Space and Science. Let's have a go.
Oh.
I don't know if that's might be out of my own league, but we'll go.
It's my kind of topic.
Yeah, that's why I chose it. No, you can't change the questions from somebody else's. You can practice it as the teacher, but you can't change it. So that is a shame.
That's a shame. I guess you could still use it as an inspiration, though, perhaps for your own quiz.
Yeah.
And
or
borrow some ideas.
starter activity.
Absolutely. Magpie those ideas.
Awesome. Yeah. And it looks like you can do them so quickly anyway. It wouldn't really matter. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Quick.
I think that's such a good demo of the app, so thank you, Hannah. I've learned so much more than what I thought it could do. So straight away now, that's like added value to something that we use every now and then as it is. So that's excellent. Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
I guess I should show my one then.
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know if it's worth trying to show you that. Is that reflective or is that okay?
That's all right, yeah.
I can't actually see it because you're so small on my screen.
Well, I'll kind of vaguely pretend I'm showing you. I'm going to show you an app called Numbots, Number Robots. I don't know if you've used Times Table Rockstars at all before.
Yes.
But it's made by the same people that make Times Table Rockstars. I only found this about 2 weeks ago, kind of by accident. I think it's quite new. But whereas Times Table Rockstars does addition, multiplication and division, this one focuses on addition and subtraction. And it's kind of designed for reception year 1 upwards, in that it starts off very, very simple. But it's not necessarily saying, oh, do you know what 1 add 2 is? It's, can you recognise that that's 1 add 2 and recognise the answer is 3 like that? So there are two modes in Numbots. There's the story mode and there's a challenge mode. And the advice that I've seen online is that you should do the story mode if you can for about 10 minutes a day. Not any more than that. You don't want to get too caught up in it.
Yeah.
And then the challenge mode, it kind of seems to just randomly unlock sometimes. And I think the idea is to do that maybe once a week. So, like Time to Tell Rockstars, you're earning coins. You choose a character and you can spend those coins in the shop. So you can then choose different parts of your character. And you play as robots in this. So you can choose different legs, different bodies, and you spend your coins upgrading it to make it the best you can. Obviously, you can then see who's in your class and what robots they've got, and the competition there to make the best robot is really obvious. But you need to earn the coins to do that. And you earn the coins in the story mode, which is here. Now, as you play as a robot, you're helping a friend called Rusty. And Rusty is that little guy there. And Rusty is quite sad, because apparently Rusty has been thrown on the scrap heap because he's not good enough at maths. I think that's what happens. But as you play through the levels, you upgrade him to make him made of iron, and then tin, and then brass. And there are loads and loads and loads of levels, from chrome and steel, right up to like gold, silver, bronze, platinum, diamond, titanium, carbon, loads of them. And the kids get really hyped up for some reason. The minute you mention diamond, they're like, woo, diamond! And they're desperate to get there. I don't know what, I'll just say platinum's better, but they're after diamonds.
Mind of a child.
And it starts off incredibly. So I'm going to jump on to one of the first few levels. That's a bad example. That's not a very exciting one. There you go. So it's literally how many blocks are on the screen. And you may not be able to see, but there are 3 blocks on the screen. How many blocks? There's 1. How many? 3 again. 2. Done. 3 stars. That is as quick as the level is. Now, those 3 stars earn me some coins. But the weird thing is, and the children didn't quite figure it out at first, is that you can get all of the answers right and only get 2 stars. And they're like, Mr. Woolcock, it's broken, I got them all right. But it's actually about the speed they answer them at. So it's testing their recognition of the numbers, the number bonds, and the speed they can access them at. So as it goes on, the levels get progressively more and more complicated. And it starts getting a lot more levels, a lot more stars. It's quite like Angry Birds and all the stars, and the kids love that. And you then start getting much more complex ones. But the way it builds up the levels very gradually, the children don't realise that it's getting harder and harder. They just think, oh, there's 4 cogs on the screen, 4. Oh, 5 add 2 is 7. And then you notice they start getting a pattern. So if there's maybe 5 cogs at the top and 2 at the bottom, you'll see them at first going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But then they realise that's what 5 cogs looks like. So straight away it's 5, 2, 7. And you can see it happening. You can see them getting quicker at recognising those numbers. And I think as a teacher, that's something really quite hard to actually measure and to teach, because that speed isn't something you can actually measure very easily. You can give them the question on the board or in their books, and they can answer it. But building up the speed and the recognition of number bonds, it's a skill to know that 8 add 2 is 10. And this gives you visual ways. It covers loads of different methods, bar models, the one with like the cherry things, I forget what they're all called, loads of different methods of addition and subtraction. And it's done in a really fun and competitive way. So I found it the other day. Now, there's a free trial, but it's not a free app. Boo. But for our school of 400 children, it's 90 quid for a year. And
really
I think
very good.
for 400 children, I think that's pretty impressive.
Really good.
Yeah.
So it's great fun. You've got the charts and stuff so you can compete against your friends. You can compete against the whole school. You can compete against your teacher. And the children can access it obviously at home as well if they want to for 5 or 6 minutes. From the teacher point of view, you get a ton of data. You get the percentage accuracy, the number of questions, the amount of time spent playing, all the things that you might be interested in as a teacher. You get all of that instantly in real time. And you can watch your class gradually move up through the story mode over the course of the year. So we've been using it literally from year 1 right up to year 6 because they all find it great fun. The older ones are racing through the first few levels. They're getting to the point now where their speed isn't quite quick enough to get the 3 stars. And they want the 3 stars. They don't have to get them, but they really, really want them. So you'll see them, they're replaying it loads and loads of times. And they'll get their crayons and they'll start stabbing the screen quicker. And I was like, that's not going to make it quicker. That's making me angry. And they're just racing through. And I think it's a really fun way of learning addition and subtraction and building up those speeds. Yeah.
That sounds
Numbots.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned there about sort of teacher side of things. So what do you get as a teacher? Do you have your own sort of account that you connect up and you get all that class data? How does it work?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good point. It's connected to the same system that Timescale Rockstars uses.
Yeah.
So if your children have got accounts in there already, they automatically work in Numbots as well.
Oh,
so as a teacher, you can then see the data from both in the same dashboard, which is really, really handy. So you can see their multiplications, details, and their addition and subtraction. And when you log in, you can go into your class, you can see each pupil, you can decide to look at what they've done recently, what activity they've got stuck on. And if you've noticed a lot of them are getting stuck on iron level 12, you can think, well, okay, what is that demonstrating? Oh, it's the bar model. Perhaps that's something we need to work on a little bit more in class. So that sort of data has been really useful. But it's very much, 10 minutes, a short burst here and there, and the children, they just want to go home and play it a bit more with their brother and sister, and a bit like Transfer Rockstars, they want to go home and build their speed up quicker and quicker. It's got that same sort of wholesomely addictive quality. The other thing that I've noticed, which I personally love, the kids find it really annoying, is that it seems to sign you out after 15 minutes. Now, I don't know if that's a bug or if that's deliberate, but it's a really good way of kind of, when they finish a level, signing them out and just making them think, okay, maybe that's enough for now. And I think that's really good, because it's so easy to get sucked in and spend hours on something.
Of course.
It's a nice little reminder. And I hope it's a deliberate feature, because I think it's quite handy to have.
I don't know if it's not, we should tell them it should be.
Maybe they'll watch this and we'll be like, look,
maybe they'll watch it.
Don't fix that bug. But yeah, so I think it's great, and the children absolutely love it. So
Brilliant.
yeah, I was quite excited to share that one.
Yeah, I think I'd really like to roll that on reception and see how far they can get with it. I think that'd be great.
It's quite simple to use, and as soon as they get the hang of the controls, it's instant. It's really, really quick. So yeah, it would be good.
And it's right up to year 6. So you and beyond. Does it go beyond sort of year 6 for those children who are?
No one's got further yet than about 30% through the story.
Oh, wow.
And that child has spent a considerable amount of time at home getting that far. So he's in year 5, and he has spent a lot of his time over half term, I think, on this. In 15-minute bursts, I'm sure, and with plenty of outside time as well, I'm sure. But he has got to copper, which is about a third of the way through. Wow. So I can't tell you how complex it gets, because I haven't myself sat down and done that. So if I go on to one of the later levels in copper, it's trying to use word problems.
Okay.
So again, that's
nice.
Nothing that's going to challenge an older child, but it is all about that speed of recall.
Yes.
And they will be able to practice that again and again to get that speed quicker, ideally.
That's nice.
So yeah, I think it scales up quite well kind of throughout the school in terms of the speed. You've had no complaints from our kids.
No.
Things like
That's
that as well.
quite nice.
Oh, I like that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to know. I wonder if it obviously it goes into word problems, but whether or not it goes into actual number problems. So creating a pattern or something like that, or sequencing and things like that. I'd be interested to see.
Oh,
there you go. That answers my question.
Yeah, I should have researched it more about how hard it actually gets. When we get there, I'll let you know.
That's right. I will download it later and start playing.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'll do 15-minute bursts.
Jacob.
Hi.
How do you celebrate at school? How far they get? Is it just something you let them get on with in their own time?
So that's a really good question. We've only been using it for 2 weeks, but when I downloaded the kind of introduction pack to show the children this little video and stuff, there's actually downloadable assets to make like a big display, and on that display you can print off everyone's little character robot, and it's got all of the different stages that you work up through. And the idea is the children can then move themselves and they get on to the next level. And I think that's a really nice way of kind of seeing that progress.
Yeah,
we've got 200 children in Key Stage 2, so it might be a bit of a struggle to fit them all on. But I think it's a really nice way of actually seeing that progress, maybe in a classroom setting.
Yeah.
And having that kind of friendly competition to see how quickly you can get through it all. So yeah, there's definitely ways of celebrating the achievements they've done as well. Just like in Timescale Rockstars, Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's good. Well, I tell you what, thank you so much, all 3 of you. I've learned a huge amount tonight. I hope you guys have as well from each other.
Yeah, fantastic.
Philip, I've seen Socrative. I've not used Socrative, but I'm about to. I think that sounds really powerful.
Amazing.
And it sounds like a really effective way of getting that data instantly in a huge amount of detail from the children that you're teaching. So that's brilliant. And Emma, Plotagon, that's just amazing. It looks like great fun. I mean, I want to start using that now and just making my own animations and things. So I can't imagine how the children kind of feel using that. It's brilliant. And Hannah, you've just like trebled my knowledge of Kahoot in 5 minutes. So thank you so much for that. And if anyone's not using Kahoot, they definitely need to, because it is great fun. I was using it before half term doing a languages day quiz, and I didn't realise there was background music in Kahoot. So I had it over the Apple TV, and the sound was up, and suddenly there was just like really like funky jazz music playing. And I was like, whoa! And all the kids like doing a little dance between the songs. It was great. Great. So I think it's always lovely kind of finding that extra value in apps that we use every day. So yeah, thank you all so much. I've really enjoyed that. It's been lovely catching up with you all and learning about what you do in your classroom. So yeah. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob.